and thank you for joining us today for the Changing the Landscape of Basketball Amidst COVID-19. My name is Osvaldo Jeanty, but most of you guys may know me as Oz. I'm a Carleton ex-basketball player, and now I'm the head coach of the newly founded basketball team in Ottawa, the Ottawa BlackJacks. So it's my pleasure to be here today and the host of this event. I've known Catherine and Tommy for quite a long time. Catherine's mom actually taught me when I was at Samuel Jeanette. So there's a long history there. And then, of course, Tommy was playing at Carleton when I was playing pro. So that's been quite a relationship between me and those two people. Before we introduce these guys, I'd like to go over a few housekeeping items. We're also joined by Kim McWaters, the event lead for the Carleton Department of University Advancement. You may hear her voice periodically. She will be keeping an eye on everything behind the scenes. So she will be the one funneling the questions and so on. Today's session will be recorded. The Carleton team will circulate the link recording following this event, and we invite you to share it with friends, family, colleagues who weren't able to attend. The event will feature a chat with two of the best Carleton alumni turned husband and wife. I call them the power couple. Not only smart, not only great basketball players, but such good people as well. They'll talk to us a little bit about their personal journeys with basketball, their time at Carleton Athletics, and of course, what we like to talk about quite a bit is they're both trying to make it to the Olympics. And lastly, what's been on all our minds is how they dealt with the COVID-19 situation, just like everybody else is dealing with that. Following our panel of discussion, we'll have about 15 minutes for question and answers. Kim may be nice enough to let you guys ask some question and chime in quickly if it's a good question. So it'll depend how nice you guys are to her. You can either do it by typing something in the Q&A at the bottom of the screen, or you can raise your hand if you want to share with the class. All right. So I'm going to introduce Catherine and I'm going to introduce Tommy. I'm pleased to introduce these two. Like I said, it's been a interesting relationship between myself and each of them. They're the ultimate power couple in terms of basketball, in terms of intelligence, and you guys will see why in a few seconds. But I want to start it out with Catherine. And this one I might have to read a little bit because I don't know everything about her background. So I'll give you a little bit of information here. She was part of the Carleton basketball team from 2016 to 2018. And before then, she played at Ottawa U. She's happy that she made the change, I think, because she was able to win a championship, U Sport Championship in 2018. She also played for the developmental national team at the 2017 FISU Games in Taipei, Taiwan. Also had a chance to participate in the 2018 Commonwealth Games in Gold Coast, Australia. Since graduating from Carleton in 2018 with a master's degree, like I said, not just brains, but beauty as well, in political science, Catherine has had stints playing professional basketball in Luxembourg, and as well as represented Canada in the 3-on-3 basketball, which is a new Olympic sport that is to be introduced in the world, introduced to the world at the Tokyo Olympics. Tommy played for Carleton University from 2010 to 2015. Wow, can't believe he's already been playing 5 years of pro. He won 5 national championships, although he had 6 years. I'll give him a wink on this one. And he graduated with a degree in neuroscience. He began his professional career in Finland. So again, Tommy has a history of starting from the bottom and working his way up and, being the only guy that I know that's always taking his success into his own hands. He also moved up, played in Germany, played Italy, played in France. He represented Canada for the first time in 2013 at the World University Games in Russia. And then in 2016, he played for the FIBA Olympic World Qualifying. Okay, I can keep on going. He's been playing for the national team on and off, depending on when the NBA guys come in and out. And he's trying to qualify for the Olympics, hopefully in Tokyo next year. Tommy, I had the privilege to actually coach him this summer. He played for the Ottawa BlackJacks and then decided to go overseas. He was named first team All BlackJacks. So again, congratulations to him as well for this. All right. Tommy, Catherine, say hello to your fans.
Hi, everyone. Happy to be here.
Good, good. So Catherine did her hair for us. It took her quite a long time. Took her a good amount of time this morning. So we thank her for that as well. You look great, Catherine. So do you, Tommy. To kick things off, how about you both tell us a little bit about your journeys with basketball, when you started playing, when you knew you wanted to play professional basketball, and how you got there. Catherine, let's start with you.
Yeah, so I come from a family of basketball players, as you know, Oz. My dad played at the University of Ottawa. My mom was just a student there, but she met my dad through his sister that was her roommate. So my mom quickly became a basketball fan. And I basically grew up, I'm sorry, Ravens, but I grew up in the Ottawa U gym. I was there every weekend for every game. And I obviously just wanted to follow my dad, wanted to follow my brother. I see the shout out. My brother is 2 years older than me, and he was always playing basketball with his friends, and I wanted to do the same. So I had quite the unusual, I guess, journey. I went to 3 high schools, 2 in Quebec, and then I moved over into Ontario to Ottawa to join like a sport études program there at Buriel. Yeah, and then after that, I went on to Ottawa U for my undergrad, so for 4 years. And then I made the decision to go to Carleton. Ended up being the best decision, as you all know, because we won a championship in 2018. So I went to Carleton to do my master's. And I think playing basketball was obviously something I wanted to do from a pretty young age. I never really did any other sports. I was pretty terrible at everything else, I would say, volleyball included, to many people's deception, because I'm really tall. And I've been playing, ever since, and I can't see myself hanging up the shoes anytime soon.
Good. And how about you, Tommy? When did you start?
I also grew up in a basketball family. Both my parents played in university. My mom played at Bishop's University, and my dad at UBC and UVic. So it was just part of my life at a young age. I think even when I was really young, we had like a Fisher-Price net in our house. So me and my brother always played either one-on-one games or just played just shooting, just for fun. And also the Vancouver Grizzlies were in Vancouver when we were growing up. So I think that really helped spark our interest. Even though the Grizzlies weren't very good, we got to see some pretty good players come to Vancouver. So that was really good for our interest in the game. I think I played a lot of sports growing up. So I think basketball never was really my only interest. I think I was just as interested in soccer, and then when I went to high school, I also played football. So I think I spent an equal amount of time on a lot of different sports. So it wasn't until I got to Carleton that I really just started focusing on basketball. And even then, I think I wasn't really. I was still more focused on academics my first few years at Carleton. I struggled a bit. I redshirted my first year, and then my first year actually playing, I only played about, I guess, 5 or 10 minutes a game, and that was only when we were up by like 30 or 40 points at the end. So it wasn't really, I wasn't really a star at that point. But then I kept working, I kept developing, and eventually I improved, and I took off from there. And I'd say like I didn't really see myself as a professional until I played for Canada at the university games in Kazan in Russia. That was my first opportunity to play with a lot of Canadians who were playing in high-level Division I schools and playing against Europeans who were probably already pros at that point. So once I saw myself in that situation and being able to compete at that level, I really felt I could have success professionally. And from that then on, I think I've just kept working. I've slowly moved my way up the levels of European basketball, and I'm still working to get to eventually the highest level I can. So the job's not done yet. I need to keep staying hungry, and hopefully I keep improving.
Good. It's always interesting to hear your story. I mean, Catherine, if you know these guys, Catherine does a lot of talking, and it's hard to get everything out of Tommy. So it's it's nice to learn some new things about him finally, where he played football, which I did not know whatsoever. So, and soccer as well. So that's great. And understanding that you just decided to play professional basketball when you knew you could get there, and when you started playing for the national team. So as I mentioned in my introduction, you two are married, and I kind of want to hear your story. So how did you guys meet?
Should I tell the story?
Let's go to Tommy first, okay? Let's go to Tommy first, and then we'll go to Kat, and then I'll ask you a couple of questions about that.
It was 2013. I think it was actually right after we played Ottawa U. We beat them in our gym, so I think it was a pretty good night. We went out to a bar downtown after the game, and then we had Brody Miracle, who was at Carleton his first few years. He was dating an Ottawa U player on the women's team, so I think both our teams just happened to be there that night, and Catherine and I just ended up meeting. We just ended up together, just had a long conversation, and then our relationship took off from there. So that's how it all started.
Nice. Kat, tell me your recollection of these events.
Okay, so what Tommy likes to leave out is that I kind of I saw him right away, and I went, and I obviously am the extrovert in this relationship, so I just went and sat beside him and started a conversation. And the big joke is that I really could not tell him or Phil apart at the start at all, and I had never met them previously, so obviously in a bar where it's dark, I didn't know. So I kind of called him Phil all night, and then when I would say Tommy, I would say Timmy, which made no sense. But yes, I like to say that I made the first move, and it's all because of me, guys.
Well, good to hear. Tommy, can you tell me about a memory from your time with Catherine at Carleton Athletics that sticks out in your mind? Is there even just one?
Well, I don't think there was many. When I was playing, I think she was still at Ottawa U, so there wasn't really many memories of us together at Carleton. But I think one year when I was in the year I played in Germany, I got injured, so I got to come home for a few months in February and March. So I got to come back and see her play, which is pretty cool, pretty good experience. I think it was kind of weird seeing her in that situation, and obviously would have been great for us to be together there at the same time. But I think even though I was injured, it was still good to come back and really just see her in that situation and having a really successful season.
Great. Kat, was he a hard critic?
No, he's just like silent after he actually was at nationals, our first time at nationals when I was on the team, so in 2017 in Victoria.
Yes.
So he made the trip out, and it was really nice to have him there. But obviously, when we lost, like I know he is dead silent when he loses, especially back in the day to Ottawa U. He wouldn't speak for like 3 days. So he just like, we both like mourned, I think, the loss in silence in Victoria when we lost in the bronze medal game.
All right. And so tell me about your favorite memory at Carleton, if there's only one, of course. Carleton Athletics. Kat.
Oh, for me. I mean, with Tommy or just Carleton Athletics in general?
Well, we're talking about your marriage, so let's talk a little bit about athletics with Tommy.
I think, well, yeah, like Tommy said, I wasn't really around when he was there. Like I would try to rush to the gym after my games to see his games. But sometimes, because my brother played for Ottawa U, I think not many people know this maybe, but Zach actually played for Ottawa at the same time Tommy was playing, and graduated at the same time as me. So I would always kind of be torn. Like I would, follow the stats for Tommy's games and like stay at Ottawa U and watch my brother play. But I would say like just training in the summer, I've always enjoyed that we both train at Carleton in the summer. And when I was on the team, Tommy would still come and work out with the guys. And that's always nice. Like I could just like peek through and like watch him play and then like talk to him in between games and stuff. So I thought that's nice.
Good. And so you guys got married in 2018, from what I remember. I was there at the wedding. It was
last year.
19. Okay, 2019. Yeah. Wow. Geez, 2019. All right. So you got married in 2019, from what I remember. Fun wedding. But your honeymoon didn't go exactly as planned. Tommy, how about you tell me what happened there?
Well, pretty much the day after the wedding, I had to leave for the national team training camp. We were getting prepared for the World Cup, so I think our honeymoon had to be put on hold. And but yeah, like she was aware of the situation. We weren't really expecting to be doing anything big. Like we knew there was a chance I'd be on the national team. So yeah, I had to leave her the day after the wedding and was away for about a month and a half. So that wasn't, I guess, a bit anticlimactic after getting married to completely leave everybody behind. But still, I think it was a worthwhile experience and something I couldn't pass up.
All right, awesome. Catherine, do you have anything to add?
No, I think you said it all. I think for a long time too, there were so many NBA guys that had committed to going to the qualifiers that there was a little bit of hope on my end. I gotta say that I would see Tommy after a week, but it wasn't until like the second or third day where he got on the court and he was like, no one's here. Like none of the NBA guys are here, or like very few of them. So he's like, oh, I think I might be gone for 6 weeks. I was like, oh, awesome. Like I was obviously so happy. You don't want to pass up the World Cup ever. So very, very proud of them.
Nice. So those early newlywed days, that must feel like a million years ago. Now you guys are stuck with more challenges. We're in the midst of COVID-19 and everything looks and feels completely different. How have things changed for you both over the course of the past 7 months? And where were you located at that time? What were you doing before the pandemic? So essentially talk to me about the before, the during, and then the now.
Yeah, I was playing in Strasbourg in France last season, and I think I remember just kind of looking on Twitter, just seeing when it started in China about how the cases kept going up and up, and I was a bit worried, but didn't take it too seriously. I thought it would just be over in a few weeks or something, but it quickly got to France, and I think one of our games got canceled last minute because the government put a limit on the amount of people in an enclosed arena. So last second our game got canceled, and then eventually we played the next week, and then our next game, I think the league kind of shut everything down at once. So I was just kind of waiting by myself in France. I think I started doing just like individual workouts at the gym, just trying to train, stay in shape, just being ready for whenever the games got started again. But then eventually it just kind of seemed like it wasn't going to happen. So yeah, luckily I was actually studying planning on taking the MCAT last summer. So I was spending a lot of time studying. So I think having no basketball gave me a lot more time and a lot more, and just gave me something to do. So it wasn't the end of the world that I was sitting in my apartment for like 10 hours a day. I just had something to do during that time. So I took advantage of it, and eventually I flew home and pretty much studied, spent most of my time studying until the end of June. So I really didn't take working out, and even though I couldn't play basketball, I didn't really care too much because I was just focusing on taking this test. And then eventually, when it was done, it was only 2 weeks until gyms opened up in Quebec. So I started working out again in Quebec for maybe 2 weeks, and then our CEVL season started, and I was back into pretty much my normal routine again, playing basketball and training every day. So yeah, that was pretty much how I dealt with it.
So he goes over this MCATs thing pretty quickly, but I want to get back to it. How did you do?
I got a pretty good score. I don't know. I think in terms of there's high standards for what's a good score in terms of anything to do with medical school, but I think I did how I wanted. So we'll see if when I eventually apply, we'll see how it does.
So from professional basketball to Dr. Scrubb.
Yeah, that's my goal in the future. So we'll see.
Awesome. And Kat, tell me about what adjustments have you made with COVID-19 and how that was in your life?
Yeah, so I actually wrapped up my professional season. I had a really short, I guess, stint in Luxembourg, which was a 2-hour drive from Strasbourg. My brother hooked that up. He plays for a pro team over there. For those that don't know, my brother lives in Luxembourg, and it's basically a professional team, semi-pro. They got local guys playing, and then they'll sign 2 Americans or 2 imports. And my brother is their 3rd import, but he actually just lives there and works there. So their women's team was looking for a 3rd non-Luxembourgish player that would help them win some games. So I kind of just hopped onto their team November, end of November, probably December, until end of January. Played some games there. And I had committed to going to Bali for a month in February to do a yoga teacher training. So long story short, we found out in November of 2019 that our 3-on-3 team had not been invited to the qualifying tournament, the Olympic qualifying tournament that was supposed to take place in March 2020 in India. We can talk about that a bit more later, but basically in November, I took the decision to do something I had always wanted to do, which was to take a yoga teacher training. And I had never had the time to do it, and to go to Bali, because who doesn't want to be in Bali in the winter? So I actually left Tommy for a month and went to Bali, did that. And we were hearing obviously a lot about the coronavirus in Asia, in China particularly at that point, but not in Bali. And then when I came back, that's when in March, like Tommy said, it had taken over Europe at that point. I made the decision to go back home, and that's why Tommy was alone for a full month in quarantine, like in real French lockdown, where
poor him.
Yeah, I know. Well, he was
for a whole month.
And he had our friend. here's our friend that you might see. So this is Solo, everyone.
Hey, Solo.
This is our nice little 2-year-old
Nice.
dog.
How did you get his name?
Yeah, Solo.
How did you get his name?
Oh, Tommy is a big Star Wars fan.
Oh, good.
He is named after Han Solo. So yeah, Tommy and Solo were in lockdown in France while I went back home. So I was obviously comforted by the fact that Tommy had Solo, like he was fine.
Good.
And then, yeah, we went back home. Tommy was studying a bunch. I was teaching a lot of Zoom yoga. Took that opportunity to build my teaching skills online via Zoom. So it was great. I did it for a long time, like 4 or 5 months, up until like, I would say like busy summer started, when things really started to open up again. And I was like, hey, people don't want to be on their screens anymore. Let's take a break. So that was great. I got to work with a bunch of teams, a bunch of athletes, Carleton. They would come to my sessions, the women's team. So I really, really enjoyed that. And obviously, as soon as we could start playing basketball again, I hopped into the gym, and we had a nice 3-on-3 league going on this summer in Quebec and on the Gatineau side. And that was really fun to just get back into it. And yeah, after so long out of the game, because for me, it had been really since January.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good. So with COVID-19, I want to ask you guys a few more questions. It doesn't seem that it affected you mentally, your mental health at all. I know a lot of people struggled with it just being at home. So did it affect your mental health at all? And did you guys pick up any new hobbies? It seemed like you picked up yoga, but did you guys pick up any new hobbies like baking, cooking? And how is your mental health overall?
No, I think I didn't pick up anything new. I just spent too much. Yeah, I just spent a lot of time studying, and then when I wasn't studying, I'd be either working out or going for walks with the dog and stuff. But yeah, I think I just tried to keep busy. I think I was a little bit worried about in terms of like if the leagues would be able to open up again, if there was going to be a season next year. Like financially, that gave us a bit of stress. But I think that wasn't really under our control. So I think we just tried to do what we could to stay in shape. And then I was focusing on my studying. So I think I just kept working every day. Just didn't really pay too much attention about stuff I couldn't control. And I think that really helped in terms of my mental health. And I think I got out of the situation pretty intact. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Yeah. I was telling Tommy that he should say that we got into cycling, but he said he didn't cycle that much. It's true. We bought bikes, which were super hard to find during the pandemic, as many people know. There was almost a bike pandemic. So yeah, we bought bikes. We live in Chelsea, for those who don't know, and there's obviously great cycling paths, and the Gatineau Park is right next door. So that's something that I really got into. I would like to not compare, but I did tell a lot of people that for me, this whole shutdown period was not so different from my usual life. Obviously not playing basketball, not being able to go to the gym when I wanted. But my reality for the last, since I graduated is kind of following Tommy where he goes, trying to find a team where he is or somewhere near him. But it doesn't really involve me seeing people every day and doing a bunch of activities. So I think for my mental health, at least, I'm used to being around this guy a lot. And I think that's the one thing that was positive, was that like, we're so used to it. We had to isolate ourselves when you came back for a full 2 weeks and we couldn't leave the house. And I was like, this is fine. Like, I'm used to it.
Especially you guys did long distance for a very long time. So I feel like it's a good thing for you guys to actually be able to spend some time together, even though it was forced. But starting out a long distance relationship, it definitely probably took a toll on both of you. So, kudos on you guys for keeping your relationship strong and then finding different ways to be good to each other. I want to talk a little bit about the Olympics. Let's change from COVID to the Olympics. You know, both of you guys are qualifying in different ways. Kat, I'll start with you because that's a little bit interesting. A lot of people may not know about the 3-on-3 tournaments and how that has been put into the Olympics, hopefully starting in 2021. So tell us a little bit about that, how you started, when the 3-on-3 started, etc.
Yeah. So I actually remembered a talk I had with my dad throughout the summer. And my dad works in sports. He's worked for Canada Basketball in the past. He's worked for FIBA also in the past. Obviously, big basketball family. And I remember him telling me that 3-on-3 made they made a big run for it in the 80s, is what I heard. So there were these American companies that were marketing they were trying to start a professional league for 3-on-3. There's a huge market for it. And then all of a sudden he was like, oh yeah, it's weird. It kind of just like disappeared. Like, they were doing really well. And all of a sudden it kind of, just drifted away, I guess. And then the next time I guess we started hearing about it again is when they put it in, I think at the 2010 and 2015 Youth Olympics. So they put it in as a trial sport. And it did so well that the Olympic Committee decided to add it into the Tokyo Olympics. And for people who don't really know about adding sports to the Olympics, it is very, very hard. And from what I've heard, squash has been trying to, get into the Olympics for years and years, and it's pretty popular in countries like Canada. But their biggest, I guess, issue or challenge is that it's not very inclusive, and there's not many countries that play it, and you need a lot of resources to play it. So 3-on-3, on the other hand, is really marketed as a street sport. So you see it a ton in Asia. It's everywhere in Asia. Everyone plays outside. It's crazy. In Canada, it's not as well known because we have all these nice buildings, gyms, facilities, right, that our government has money for or decides to spend money on. But that's essentially how they made it into the Olympics, by showing that it was an accessible sport for all countries, rich or poor, and that it was really bringing in that street aspect. So, I know Oz, Tommy played with Oz. When did you say 2015? Yeah, so 2015, you guys played. There's a lot of money involved in the men's tournaments.
We lost $40,000 because Tommy was overseas. So you got half of that.
Yeah, so for women, it's a bit more recent than that. They have been playing, I would say probably around 2015, 2016, all over Asia, Europe. There's been tournaments, but only in 2019 did FIBA implement a World Series, which was basically a summer league for women, and you could represent your country. So that's when Canada decided to jump on board and say, we want to put in a team. And this whole idea was sparked by the Plouffe twins, who are really legendary basketball players. They played on the national team for years and years, and then decided they wanted to take a step back from 5-on-5 national team and then start their own 3-on-3 team, because why not? It's a new sport, and it's a great opportunity to be kind of a pioneer for this new discipline. So they started this team. We were self-funded. Canada Basketball had not implemented a strategy yet for 3-on-3. So that means they had no money, no budget for it, no person that was really assigned to the 3-on-3 file. But we did what we could. We fundraised a bunch. And then we did, I think it was 9 tournaments throughout the summer. And when Tommy did end up leaving for the World Cup, it was kind of a blessing in disguise, because I had played one tournament in the summer prior to our wedding. And I guess I did well enough that the team invited me to come back for the last 2 tournaments. And they were in Montreal and Edmonton. And we ended up winning both of them. So we went on a crazy streak in the summer. I won't go into the exact details because it's a not like 5-on-5 where it's tournaments and you qualify that way, but it's a whole point system. It's very complicated, but in the end, I guess the end line would be to say that we were too young of a team. So we hadn't accumulated enough points. And that meant that was one criteria that made us not qualify for the qualifying tournament, which was supposed to take place in India last year. So we found that out in November. But we still, we're really proud of our accomplishment. We represented Canada, beat the best teams in the world. We beat Russia, we beat France. So we did really, really well. We beat the US every time. So, I think the world knows that we're definitely really good at 3-on-3. And to say that the Olympic dream is completely gone, I would say, would be a lie. There's always hope that with the Olympics being pushed, things might be, might change, and we might get a chance to qualify at one of these tournaments whenever they happen, with whatever circumstances. So yeah, my theory is just stay ready, be ready whenever you're called, and hopefully if it's not 2021, it's Paris 2024, who knows, but yeah.
Good. Well, I'm looking at the time a little bit, and I think we have 5 minutes before we open it up to questions. So I'm gonna jump to Tommy a little bit. As you can see, I'm wearing an Ottawa BlackJacks shirt. I had the privilege and the chance to coach Tommy with the BlackJacks. And I want to know a little bit, how was that experience for you? It's a new professional team, and I'm sure everybody wants to know as well, how was that experience for you? Pretend I'm not your coach. Anything that you say will not be held against you at a later time.
Obviously, I think we didn't finish as well as we thought we could have or should have.
4 games in 5 days.
To start, I think it felt good playing on a team that, because when you're in Europe, you're always on a team for maybe 1 or 2 years. You never really feel connected to the city or the organization. You're just kind of there to play your contract, and then you'll probably end up leaving at the end of the year. But for this team, it felt good to have a lot of guys who had some connection to the city of Ottawa, and I think that really helped us kind of feel like we were playing for something or representing our city or our school or whatever. So that was fun. I think, obviously the level was a lot better than I was expecting going in. Last summer I watched a bit of the CBL games, and I think it was hard to tell how good the play like that. I know they were good players, but it just looked like a kind of like a summer league, not really. Guys weren't really playing defense. It was just all offensive stuff. But I think in the summer series, it was really competitive basketball. I think guys hadn't played for 4 months, and I think everybody wanted to just kind of go out there and win and compete and play for whatever, play for a contract, play for their city or whatever. So I think it was really a really competitive tournament. I think there was it was really physical and kind of, I think I was a bit frustrated to start. It was kind of, I think, or throughout the tournament, it was just kind of a bit frustrating. Just it was a really, really chippy league, really physical, a lot of fouling. So I think maybe that threw me off a bit, and some of the other guys on my team off a bit. But it was fun to get back to playing, and I think we're looking forward to hopefully getting a lot of the guys back next year and making another run at the championship.
Awesome. So we're almost out of time, but I want to know what's next for you guys. What's next? Life after basketball, and give me a little bit. Call it medium term and then long term. How about that? Pat, do you want to start, or Tommy starts? Who wants to start?
Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I think I haven't completely decided on how much longer I want to play. I'd say at least 3 more years, and then after that we'll see. If I don't get injured, at least 3 more years, and then after that we'll see how it goes. But obviously it's a great lifestyle, so I think it's going to be hard to pass it up. Even if I'm able to play, it's gonna be hard to pass up just this way of life and just being able to play a game that I love.
So that's interesting. You have a timeline and not so much because some people say, you know, if it's injuries or I want to retire at a certain age. So for you, it's 3 years, but you're still open to more if you're healthy.
Yeah, I'm just going to take it maybe year by year and see how I feel. Because as I said before, I was studying for my MCAT this summer, and before I really took basketball seriously, it was always my goal to apply to med school and become a doctor. So that's still on the table for me. Obviously, I don't want to, in my mind, I don't want to be like 35 or 40 years old, just going back into school. I think that'll be tough. So I still feel like I want to be kind of young and have a lot more energy to be able to go through a long process of schooling. But we'll see how it goes. I think I'm lucky to have a lot of time to be able to be able to think about this stuff and not be forced into making decisions based on pressure to make money or pressure to do whatever. So I think yeah, hopefully I can play a few more years, and then after that we'll see. We'll decide together what's best for us, and then make the decision going forward.
Great. And Catherine, I hear you're working at the government right now. So how about you? What's medium term and what's long term?
Yeah, so the great thing about the pandemic was that the government went remote. I'm sure like many people at home too. I got a job right out of school at Global Affairs, right out of my master's, and I worked in the humanitarian assistance division. And I'm happy to be kind of back in that same sector. So I had to leave my job to go to France last year because I couldn't do it remotely at the time. And you know, we've talked about the long distance. It was hard, and I decided to go to France. I speak French as well, so for me, being in France is it's very close to home, right? I can actually have conversations with people and go around, you know, go about my everyday life and not feel so much like an outcast, except like when they make fun of my accent, which
or when you send Tommy shopping.
Exactly, when I sent Tommy to the grocery store. He's still working on his French. We will get there. But yeah, so right now I'm very lucky and fortunate to be able to work this contract through the government. It is only a short-term contract, so we'll see what I do after it's over in November. Right now, the women's basketball landscape is a little different in Europe than the men's. A lot of leagues are just kind of on hold for now. And that, you know, with me working and all that, the closest team was in Geneva. I would love to get a chance to go out there and play, but right now I'm just focusing on work, and hope that the situation in Europe gets better and that, you know, all the leagues come back, you know, strong, and we can, you know, have a season. So right now I'm kind of on hold. I've always said that I will not officially retire from basketball as long as Tommy doesn't officially retire, because that means that I can just play. You know, yes, sometimes it's unpaid, and it's just for fun, but I can always play as long as he's playing overseas, because there are so many great leagues. You know, there's like a Division 5 team in this city. So there's just all these leagues for women, and it's amazing. So I will, you know, continue to stay active, and I'm very, very competitive. So when I see him playing, it just makes me want to play, and I, you know, work out with him in the summer and challenge him all the time. So yes. I got to keep living up to that. Yes. So yeah, obviously we want to, you know, go back home one day to Canada, have a family, and all that stuff. But right now we're enjoying being abroad, living this lifestyle abroad, and just, you know, having a good time. And
are you still
really, he's living the dream.
Are you still planning on working for the UN? I know that was one of the things that you talked about.
Yeah. You know, I don't know if after so long abroad, like after such a long time abroad, I would kind of drag Tommy into, you know, having a remote posting for the UN in Geneva or in New York. It's always kind of been my dream, but dreams change and evolve. I've, you know, recently taken up yoga and all that stuff. So I have a lot of interests, and I like to dip my toes in a lot of things, and who knows where I'll stay, you know, for a long time. It's kind of up in the air, but I like to say that my time abroad is personal development time. Yes. And I get to do a little bit of everything, volunteer here and there, and just build my resume, and we'll go from there.
That's awesome. So we do have one question that I kind of like here, and then I'll open it up. Guess who it's from, but any plans of starting a family, and how quick? You said it quickly. You said it quickly that you were planning of starting a family, but people are interested to know when that will happen. 6'9", long, athletic, all with red curly hair.
I mean, we'll see.
That was a question from Dad, by the way.
I think, we do have a house in Canada. We're very fortunate. We have, we're both working, and we'll see when we're actually ready at that point in time. But, if it were to happen, I think we'd be up for it. A lot of basketball players have their kids abroad because they do. Yes, Tommy has a busy schedule and he is on the road. He just spent the last 4 or 5 days in Istanbul in Turkey. And I was here by myself, but when he's home like a lot, right? So we do kind of like that scenario more than having kids when Tommy is in medical school. Because
it's definitely a great lifestyle. I can see when I played basketball, it was similar, right? You have enough time, and the kids get to grow up watching you play. And I think, that would be an awesome thing for the kids to be able to watch both their parents play, kind of a love and basketball type of thing. All right, guys, thank you so much. Let's open it up to questions. Does anybody have any questions for Tommy and Kat?
We had one earlier at the beginning for Catherine, asking about where do you see women's basketball going in Canada? She says she tried to follow WNBA when she was a kid, and there's still no coverage when there's a championship going on.
Great question. I completely agree with that. I think it's always hard. Why is it so hard to watch women's basketball? I always have to find, an underground link in order to see the games, because they're not on TV or they're not just free streamed. I think that's kind of what I've made my objective. I've recycled myself a little bit into a 3-on-3 player, but also as an advocate for growing the game. And, the truth is that, women, girls tend to drop out of sports earlier in life than men do. And I think it's a great, with so many strong and amazing female Canadian athletes that we have, and across all sports really now, there's no reason for girls to, drop out of sports because of various reasons. There's a lot of reasons why they would, but I think I just want to continue that conversation that, females can be amazing, amazing athletes and have amazing careers. And that we just got to improve visibility and keep, showing young girls that they can play, and that there are many teams, many sports, and it does really build your character. I owe everything to basketball. I do have a lot on my resume, but my interpersonal skills come from that team environment that I grew up in, my leadership skills and all of that. So I definitely think there's room to grow in Canada, and there's been a lot of talk about it in the last few years, and it can only get better. I think we just got to keep promoting sports across social media. Whenever we get a chance to talk about it to people, keep promoting it, because I think it's a huge part.
And definitely, I think also with the women's game, what becomes difficult is that there's not enough money to make it a living right now. And I think as more money is injected into it, I think more women will feel like they can make it a career, and that they can make enough money to make it a profession. So great question again. And we have more coming up for you guys. Go ahead, Kim.
Jose has his hand up. So Jose, if you want to ask your question.
Yeah, I got the mic. Hey guys.
Hey.
Hey.
Great to see you guys. First thing is thank you for both of you representing our great country. Thanks that I've seen you guys play like for Team Canada, and it's the coolest thing. Second thing is Ed Ireland says hi.
Hi, Ed.
He's downtown somewhere, and you guys are totally across the pond. The third thing is this specific question for Kat. I knew about the story with the 3-on-3 team. What, in your opinion, could you do in the future to kind of make that situation better in terms of like qualifying? Is it like more games, more tournaments, more teams, more players? You know, what do you think we could do as a community?
So like I said, definitely it came down to participation. That was the biggest criteria that hurt Canada. And that's kind of that, you know, advocate role that I have to take, you know, in the next few years, is encouraging players to play, and whoever I know, you know, whatever coach I meet, to have tournaments, like hold basketball 3-on-3 tournaments, because they are so much fun and they give you points, which help us qualify. They will definitely reshape the entire process, because I think they saw the caveats that there were. Probably biggest one is Canada not qualifying when we made international headlines that we were beating every team. So I know they'll change that criteria. I know the participation, like it was hard for them to ensure, you know, the truth in some countries' participation. So yeah, I think it's just continuing to you know, build the game, teach it to kids, teach it from a young age, because it does teach you really good basketball skills that you can bring to 5-on-5 as well. But yeah,
and you guys
for sure. Great question, Jose.
Thank you.
And thanks, Catherine. Kim, next ones, I can see most of the questions. So Kim's, it's up to you.
Okay, well, why don't we throw one out to Tommy. Tommy, is there any opportunity in the future in Europe for you and Phil to play together on the same team?
Yeah, I think every year we've been professionals. We've always tried. We've always told our agent we want to play on the same team, but it just hasn't worked out yet. So yeah, we'll keep trying in the future, but I think it's kind of hard. The level we want to get to, teams aren't going to kind of just allow us to be on the same team just because we're brothers. They're going to be more worried about just making the best team possible. But I think yeah, there's hope still. I think at least now we're in the same country, so eventually I think hopefully we get on the same team.
They've been in the same country twice. They've been close twice. Gießen in Frankfurt and in France as well. But the fun part, Dave, is you get to see them play in Ottawa on the same professional team. So that's a good one.
Let's throw this one to you, Oz. So Tiffany said that they've had season tickets since the first year, and they now have 2 young children, often found running around in the gym. How do you encourage and foster the love for basketball at a young age?
Wow. Tiffany, great question. And I wish that I really knew the answer to that. I think I asked that question quite a bit because I have a son and a daughter, and I'm really, really competitive. So I'm trying to make them love basketball without me pushing basketball so much. So I think one of the things that I learned the most is just letting them be who they are, but try to get them around the sport as much as possible. You know, anytime that I'm playing, I try to bring them, even if it's Sunday league. Anytime there's professional games, I try to bring them. So I try to get them involved in just loving the sport, just being around the sport. And hopefully they find a love for it on their own. If they love it on their own, it's more likely to be sustainable than if I'm forcing it on them. Although I will have little cues all over the house, little basketballs all over the place, nets all over the place, pictures all over the place that can help them. But yeah, it's just keeping them around the sport as much as possible, in my opinion.
We've probably got time for a couple more. There's one for you, Catherine, about do you see a future for Canadian professional women's leagues beyond university in Canada?
It's a good one.
I think the CBL format would be ideal for women. I like the summer format because it's just, you know, women go off and make, although, you know, some don't make as much money as men do overseas, I think the biggest part of their income is going overseas, just like men. So those summer months when they are back in Canada and they're looking for a place to train, we're very fortunate at Carleton because we get invited back as alumni to go and practice and scrimmage with the girls. But I know girls who, you know, live in Sudbury and they come home in the summer and they have nowhere to train. So they'll go to their high school gym, but they're not really getting runs in. They're not getting 5-on-5, you know, runs in. So this summer would be a great opportunity. And the fact that they could pay less as well, which is going to be the reality for us starting our startup league in Canada. You know, I've talked to a few people about it already, and we're on board. There's more than enough basketball players in Canada to start a league. And even if it's just an Ontario-based league, and then it starts to grow, you know, I'd be up for it for sure. You know, we're always looking for places to compete. We just need, you know, people to start backing that idea and make it happen. But I think the CBL has laid a really great foundation for it, and hopefully they can start thinking about women soon.
Thanks, Catherine. We have time for one more, and I'm going to end it on a personal one, because of course your brother asked this, and I think it's kind of cute. And then I'll let Oz wrap it up and say goodbye to everyone. But he's wondering what the other's most adorable or annoying habit is. I'll let you guys choose.
I'll say that Tommy brings me coffee in bed every single morning, and he is not a coffee drinker. So I really, really appreciate that. And that would be his most, you know, adorable habit that he's created in this overseas life.
Yeah, I'd say Catherine always, whenever I'm really tired or feeling down, she always kind of seems to like to bake me like cookies or something, some treat that I like. So that's always really nice of her.
Nice. All right, awesome. So Catherine the baker and Tommy the coffee maker. Well, guys, thank you very much again for being with us. It was really interesting getting to know you guys better. Like I said, I learned things every day about you, and I appreciate you letting me be your host. I really, really enjoyed it. It was fun for me. Thank you, everyone, for your questions. In order to respect everybody's time, it's now 2:00. We'll be wrapping up now. I'd like to say a huge thank you again to Catherine, Tommy for their time today. Thank you to our attendees, as well as for tuning in and participating today. We hope you enjoyed the panel, and we thank you for your time. Connect with fellow Carleton alumni and other members of the Carleton community, and that's always fun. And thanks again for participating. It was great, and we hope to hear from you guys again.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.